if you want, you could talk to me with the 15 seconds. And then
Well, folks, would you believe it? It's been quite a while, but we are back. It's the STC, your favorite team championship here on sim racing, in the sim racing world on PSR TV. This is your friendly voice coming to you live tonight, and we're in rainy Spa-Francorchamps. With me, as usual, is David Garcia, who is right now taking the pace car through its paces. David, are you able to talk to me at this moment?
Yes, hello, Rickard.
Brilliant. So, how's the track in the rain?
Well, slippery.
Okay, slippery when wet, as they say. And of course, with me as well is José Estrada, my cameraman extraordinaire. Good night, José.
Good night, Rickard. Good night, everybody.
So, track layout is Spa-Francorchamps. It's a track that basically I should think everybody knows, and I suppose this is the point where we're about to follow the pace car round the track, isn't it, José?
Yeah, if the pace car driver is ready, we can...
Yes, I am starting the lap right now.
Brilliant! So, we're with David Garcia, and this also gives you a nice view of the cars that actually overtake him. There's a Roaring Pipes Maniacs car here on the inside, because we do have a new mod here at the STC, and once he powers out of La Source, of course, he's going downhill, as you would probably know. And you just saw the pit exit in this mod here, in the STC mod of the track, and now he's into Eau Rouge, that most famous all corners in racing. There's a Project D racer behind him who's overtaking him now. And as he goes out onto Camel, that fiendishly long straight, let me introduce you to the mod. We're using a one-car mod this season. It's the car is the Doran JE4. It's a bit dated, the car actually. It's a 2004 build in real life, and it can take virtually any motor that you put into it. And it was built for the 24 hours of Daytona. Right now, David has passed Les Combes, and he's now approaching Bruxelles, which is a 180-degree turn. And there's one of the Clubben racers behind him, taking, of course, the inside here in the warm-up. David now out of Bruxelles and into turn number 9, which at least on my map doesn't have a name, but he's now going downhill again in a nice little section here that's really nice and flowing, and then into Double Gauche, the turn that got a nice new tarmac runoff area, so you don't get stuck in the sand anymore, whether it's virtual or not. And now approaching the next chicane. It's called Fanje, and this is really a nice place to overtake in the brake zone that we have here. After Fanje, he's downhill, still downhill, approaching Campus, which is then the lowest part of the track, and after that we're slowly moving uphill again. Out of Campus, which is turn 14, now into 15, which is called Courbe Paul Frère. And then we have 16 and 17, which together are called Blanchement. Well, the Doran, it's rear-wheel drive, so in the rain it's going to be quite slippery tonight. And one reason switching to a one-car mod, of course, is that every team now basically faces exactly the same challenge on every circuit, because the build of the virtual car is the same, the setups and whatever can be done on the setups are the same. And here's now David in the new chicane with the big STC logo, and he's out on the start and finish straight and crossing the finish line now. So that was your lap of Spa-Francorchamps. Jose, we do have a rundown now of the starting grid, don't we?
Yeah, exactly, Eckhart.
Brilliant. So let's start with the number 1. We still have 2 minutes to go before the end of the warm-up, so 4 minutes to go before the start of the race. Let's start with the number 1, and that is a racer that most of you who followed the STC will definitely know. It's Mikko Korkiakoski, but the fellow has switched sides. We're no longer with DHR, he's now with FlatOut. So FlatOut take the first pole of the season, Mikko Korkiakoski. In number 2, it's for the Roaring Pipes Maniacs, a nice white and orange layout, Peter Duivelaar of the Netherlands. In number 3, we have the second of the FlatOut racers in the skin that easily won the skinning contest here, so some STC t-shirts on the way to FlatOut headquarters there. Well done. It's Bryan Stark in number 3. In number 4, it's the FlatOut Club, which means it's the skin without the color. It's their junior team, and it's David Clark in number 4. I hope I don't get Stark and Clark mixed up too often while I'm doing this here. In number 5, another team that joined us last season, it's Core Motorsports from Italy, and it's Antonio Cambria in 5. In position 6, the second of the Pipes Maniacs of the RPMs, it's Marcin Skrzypczak, the guy that I actually thought would be on pole, and that just goes to show how great and how close the competition is this year in the STC. In position number 7, taking a quick look here, we find the first of a new team here. It's a Motor AG from Romania, and it's Michael Bräutigam from Romania, and sounds very German to me, but I have to check the fellow's nationality actually. The team, however, is definitely from Romania. In 8, we have his teammate David Safiu. Then in position number 9, the first of the Black Rebels, and the delightful yellow skin that was prepared here by either Jose or David. I think it was David, was that? It's Andreas Löffler from Germany in 9, and then in 10, a first racer for a second new team from Sweden. Say hello to Gup Klubben. It's Göran Johansson in 10. Then position number 11, the first of the Black Visor racers, Bob Hunchins, followed by the second Black Visors. In 12, we have Neil Gold. I must remember to make a little comment on the position of their starting number later on as the broadcast goes on. Then we have another new team, Flying Dutchman Racing, in 13, fielding Hugo Hackenberg. In 14, it's Torrent Motorsports. That's our third new team. They were here before, only for a race or two, and now they field Richard Helstein in 14. In 15, as the players now assemble on the grid with about 140 minutes to go before the start. Where was I? 15, I was. The Black Rebels, second car, Ben Buitendijk from the Netherlands. 16, second of the Core Motorsports, Fortunato Fiorito. 17, Simon Malouish, second of the Torrent Motorsports, well-known name, of course, in sim racing, Simon. 18, second of the Flying Dutchman, Yuri Braham. 19, let me have a look, it's the second of the Gup Klubben racers, Guge Holtmann. In 20, the first of the Aini racers, Ihab Abbas. In 21, the first of the Project D racers from France, Luc Mongas. In 22, it's Bevan Johnson for the FlatOut Club. In 23, the first of my team, the Blue Flag Racing, Theo De Bruyne. In 24, next of the Amy Racers, Michael Hart-Jones. And in 25, rounding up our list here, it's Eric Martel for Project D. 26 should have been second Blue Flag Racer, Mikael Larsson. However, there was a bit of a technical problem, so we start our season with only one car on the grid, and you can hear me sob in the background. Anyway, that was your grid roundup, and we're 8 seconds away from the start of the race. So, Jose, you tell me when we join the grid.
Right now, I can't.
Well, and as we join the grid, we see David Garcia making his way in the beautifully redesigned BMW pace car from the back of the grid to the start. And I hope there is a sim out in the near future where we have a pace car that actually starts the race at the front. However, here we are. The procedure is the same procedure as every year. He will now slowly speed away, and Korkiakoski will follow him. And then we have all the cars going into single file, and that actually works like a charm here at virtual Spa-Francorchamps. While they're doing their outlap to warm up the tires, to have the tension run high, Jose, qualifying results, bit of a surprise for you, or what is your take on it?
Well, I think there are a lot of new drivers this year, so it's difficult to know what to expect. So I'm just looking forward for the race, and not surprised, not with the qualification, maybe a little bit, seeing the RPM drivers not in the top 5 positions. But apart of that, I think it's a new season, and I still don't know what to expect.
I think we should all keep an open mind here. And Korkiakoski, we knew he was fast when he was with DHR, and he's now with FlatOut Racing on loan, I hear. So he's basically still with DHR, but really wanted to do this series here. And so FlatOut decided, and why shouldn't they, to pick him as well for their car, and it seems to have been a perfect addition. And yes, I suppose also we'll see very, very close fights here. There's also been already been the first bit of trouble. One of the Gup-Klubben racers I saw as the cars were coming up out of Eau Rouge. You could see the start and finish straight that used to be after the Source, and there was a spin there by one of the Gup-Klubben racers, and also the sole surviving Blue Flag racers, Theo De Bruyne, was caught up in it. So I hope that these two can make it back to the grid, and I hope that these two can actually start the race without any damage to the virtual racers, which would be a shame, really. And Jose, I must say, it's an absolutely beautiful field that we see here approaching double gauche. And what about the skins? That worked out fairly well, setting a skin contest, didn't it?
Well, I think all the teams made a perfect job, and I think this is one of the best looking grids in the history of sim racing.
Well, let's keep it restricted to the history of STC, which is a long history as well. Is it our 6th or 7th season?
Bigger.
It certainly does, it certainly does. And I must agree, it certainly is a beautiful field, and you get a full take of all the players on the field here as the race progresses. We'll definitely do our famed rundowns of the grid. I'm really looking forward to that one, I should say. It's something that I really missed in the last 3 months. No rundown of the field. And also, we're now approaching Blanchimont. So I think I should stop babbling and we should all concentrate on the start. The start procedure is that David Garcia will switch off the lights and he will then join the pit lane, and from then on it's Korkiakoski who sets the pace, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. He will go faster to run away from the pack, and then the leading driver will take the control of the pace. And after the turn 1, he will accelerate. No overtaking allowed before the start-finish line, and
yep.
Then race.
Yep, so we will see runaway right now, I think. And then, very important to remember, no overtaking allowed before the start and finish line. However, we should see some race speed starting now, and we do have it. It's Korkiakoski speeding away. He is across the line right now, and we're in a new season there for the first time approaching La Source, and oh, a crash in the first race of the first season in the first turn. That was definitely the rain that sent Duivelaar into Korkiakoski's back, and these two are now down to 6 and 8 respectively, while at the top there's others taking the lead here, and I must on my screen quickly move to the top to tell you that it is Bryan Stark of FlatOut who has grabbed the chance and sped away from the field a little. He's now out on Camel, and it's the second of the Pipes Maniacs. It's Marcin Skrzypczak who is putting this FlatOut club guy David Clark under a lot of pressure here on Camel to maybe try to get past him. Whoa, what a start to the season. That was, the way I see it, Duivelaar had just a little slide in the rain and actually did a little knock on Korkiakoski's back, which sent both of them into the runoff area. But I presume that they're both back in the race, and I hope that both the virtual cars are able to take the stress and are able to here resume the race. And as we can see, Stark pulling away, but we should go to position number 2, because this is where the action is. David Clark is definitely not quite as fast in this first lap as is Marcin Skrzypczak in 3. Skrzypczak is known as a guy for the first lap. He is known to be outrageously, and there's the second crash. There is Stark being hit by one of the Motor AG guys, and he's dropping positions like there's no tomorrow. The Motor AG guy was Michael Brautigam, and this means that we now have Cumbria of Core Racing in 3, we have Skrzypczak in 2, and we still have Bryan Stark in position number 1. And right now, it's position number 4 and 5 where the action is. We have Michael Brautigan in 4, and he has to defend going into Blanchimont against Peter Duivelaar, who is quickly trying to make up for that mistake in the first turn. Many races here off the track, they might get a warning for that, and if these warnings accumulate, those of you who know the game know that they might be black flagged later on. However, right now, Duivelaar stays behind Brautigam, and just in front of a Black Rebels racer who is Andreas Löffler. Löffler moved up from 9 to 6 and did a brilliant first lap here. So, lots of action already on the first lap. And Löffler very close indeed. And as they go through La Source, there's a bit of argy-bargy here and there. Guys touching the other car in front, but at least in position 1 to 10, it all stays clear. Should say, which position should we be following, or which positions do the viewers actually see at this point?
Well, as you said, we were with the action before.
Okay, so that's position number... Oh, I'm sorry, and there he goes. Off he goes. That's great we were with number 4, because Michael Breutigam is off the track. He's off the track indeed. There was a little touch there. Didn't really see what was happening on my screen. And this puts Korkiakoski in the lucky position to regain another position. And Korkiakoski is up to position number 6 now. And I suppose we should stick with Korkiakoski because he's right now attacking Andreas Loeffler. Loeffler doing the mother of all blocking moves, I would call it, which sends him into the runoff area, which sends Korkiakoski past, and the Moto AG guy, there should be the second of the Moto AG racers, slips past. And so Loeffler drops 2 positions here. I think he had a problem in the turn before. Didn't really get out of the turn. I think got the wheels on the wet curves. And that's the way I saw it. And we have Göran Johansson of Gubbklubben behind Loeffler. Loeffler in 7, Korkiakoski already up to 6, David Sofiu in 5, and in front of him there's the first gap of the race opening to the RPM racer to, I think, Peter Duivelaar in 4, but I suppose we should stay with Sofiu and with Korkiakoski because Korkiakoski is our man on the move here in the first 2 or 3 laps. I've just heard that David Garcia has taken off the virtual helmet, has parked the virtual race control car and is with us again. David, we had 2 or 3 little crashes already in the first 1 or 2 laps. Is this a sign of things to come, or can we put it down to the bad weather?
Well, I think it can be half and a half. I would say half is because of the bad weather, because the tires are almost useless for all the drivers. But well, the second part is that everybody wants to make a good debut in the series, so everybody will push us as far as possible, and sometimes it's a bit too far.
Yep. And one of the guys definitely pushing, but not too far, is Korkiakoski. He was sent off. What do you think are his chances of getting into the top 3 now that he's down something like, I would say, 7 to 8 seconds already in, I don't know what we have, lap 5, I think.
Well, and I think he will be able to recover some positions. The problem is that as much ahead you go, much faster the guys are, so recovering a position when you are in P6 is not an easy task, Eckhart.
It definitely isn't, at least from the way I see it here. Sofiu actually can open up a little gap to Korkiakoski, and maybe also Korkiakoski has decided that the time of the fast moves are over and now it's time to settle into some sort of race rhythm. And that said, José, this is, I think, the time for the first rundown. So should we move first to number 1 and then down the grid, especially for the teams that we haven't seen on the screen so far, so that the people at home know where their players are?
Sure, Eckhart. We are following Bryan Stark, the leader.
Oh,
He's losing ground with Marcin, but not sure.
It wouldn't quite surprise me, knowing the speed that Skrzypczak has. And yes, I do agree. Skrzypczak in position number 2 has definitely come closer. This is one of the classier skins here, the Roaring Pipes Maniac skins. I definitely must look up what Novel Idea is. Sounds great to me. And very much like that skin indeed. And in position number 3, Antonio Cambria. In that really colorful red, yellow and black core racing skin, and we know that the core racers are really quick. We saw that last season, so I suppose he might be able to hold on to something like a top 5 position here if he can put it all together today. Position number 4, Peter Duivelaar, second in the grid, as you may remember, but then involved in that T1 crash as the guy who pushed Korkiakoski a little, and he's now hot on the heels of that core racer. Position number 5, and there he's passed. It's Mikko Korkiakoski. He made a move somewhere in the vicinity of La Source, I suppose. and has gotten past the Motor RG man, which is who is none other than David Zafiu. And Zafiu desperately trying to follow Korkiakoski is the way I see his slides, or I interpret his slides. And Korkiakoski now able to pull away just a little. And following Zafiu, his teammate Michael Bräutigam. Michael Bräutigam in 7, and now almost, well, very, very close to Zafiu indeed. In 8, Andreas Löffler, German fellow, compatriot to me in the Black Rebels team. And really fighting with that car is Andreas. It's all over the place. And then in 9, Göran Johansson, and from the color scheme of that racer you can already see which country these people come from. Gup Klubben, and my Swedish teammates tell me it translates as Old Guys Club, more or less, kind of. Then in 10, yes, please.
Let me interrupt you at this point because I want to remember all the people watching the broadcast that we have an interview later with Robin Johansson.
Oh, yep. Thanks for the reminder. Yeah, Robin Johansson. If I'm not mistaken, he was with Danielson Motorsport last season, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's one of the things you can ask him. Where have they gone? Anyway, here's Richard Hellstein for Torrent Motorsports. That's a very well-known race team in sim racing. They also do real-life racing, or they're also involved in real-life racing. And they're with us tonight, and they were hopefully with us for the whole season. It's their second attempt at an STC season, and it looks as if they're all set for a full season this time. In 11, his teammate Simon Malouche, as I said, well-known name in sim racing. Right now he's under attack by Ben Buitendijk and doing a nice defensive move here, Malouche, but now he gets too far on the outside. He's on the grass, he's trying to put it together, he's out. He is definitely sliding across the grass here, and sportsman that he is, he slows down to let at least 2 of the 3 cars following him. So really try to recover the car, be very, very safe before we rejoin the track. And as you see, very well done indeed. And this black visor racer that we see here, that's none other than Bob Hutchins. He slipped past, Buitendijk slipped past, so that means Hutchins in 12. And Buitendijk in 11, and Simon Malouche in 13. And Simon Malouche is followed by the first of the second Dutch team here at the start. It's Hugo Heckenberg for the Flying Dutchman Racing. And they also go for orange, of course, being Dutch, but it's more black and grey in their really very, very stylish skin here that he presents. And Heckenberg does indeed put a lot of pressure here on Malouche, who has definitely lost his rhythm in that incident. Don't know about you, David. If you have an incident like Simon right now had, how long does it take you to get back into the groove?
Yes, I think it's hard to get back in the groove because the first sensation you have when you come back to the track is that your tires are dirty and you have not the same grip that when you were on the racing surface. So it's not easy to recover the pace.
Yeah, and also you lose, I don't know about the other sim races, but I do have a feeling of a certain rhythm for every track. And if I get out of that, and here we see Malouche actually pitting in, so it appears that either he considers the track to be dry enough, because it is definitely drying up here, and he's out of the rhythm anyway, so he's the first one to pit, and I suppose he'll go for the hard dry tires now. So Heckenberg, we're with Heckenberg in third. Sorry, I forgot to press the button. Thanks for reminding me, Jose. I was talking away, but I was lost in space because I didn't press the M button on my keyboard. Anyway, 14, it's Neil Gold for Black Visors. 15, followed closely by David Clark for the FlatOut, and he was in 4 on the grid, so he should be one to watch out for as he tries to make his way back up. In 16, Fortunato Fiorito from Italy, no less. Yuri Braham, second Dutchman in 17, followed by the first of the Project D, Luc Mongas. And that is another skin that I think is just breathtaking. Really nice variation on the blue, white and red theme that we first had with Team GG and that the Project D have thankfully taken up. Then Bevan Johnson in 19, another flat-out club racer. And these guys obviously are now struggling with the rain tires on the dry tarmac. 20, Guge Hultmann for Gup Klubben. 21, our very own Theo de Bruyn for the Blue Flag Racing, car number 9. And then in 22, Simon Maluish, back from the pits already, and now the first and only guy in the grid, I think, already on dry tires. 23, Eric Martel. And sorry folks, I'm rushing this a little because I think we need to get to the pits. 24, Michael Hart-Jones for Amy Racing. And 25, Ihab Abbas, who looks as if he's just been to the pits as well. And that was our first rundown. And what about the activity in the pits, David? Did you notice anything? Anybody else who's changed the tires yet?
Not really. Not really. I only saw Simon Maluish visiting the pits.
Okay, and if you watch closely, you can actually see a bit of spray still following the virtual racers. So there's the track. It indicates that the track still is wet, though not very wet indeed. And it should be okay with dries, I would say, if you take it slowly and if you use that right-hand foot of yours very, very carefully, especially out of the turns. But let's see what happens. And Jose, any indication which car the viewers see on their screen? And David tells me position 7 is where the action is, so no matter where we are right now, Jose, hop on the bandwagon and join us in 7, because there's a big fight there between Andreas Löffler for the Black Rebels, Rickard Hellstein for the Torrent Motorsports, and Göran Johansson for the Gup Klubben. And David, that one of the elements we're still missing in Sims, isn't it? That there should still be wet patches out there on the track, which you should then try to catch to save your times. Something that we see in real life racing, but I don't think any Sim so far has managed to do that, have they?
Yes, I don't think so. I think we will reach that day and we will be able to simulate them things, but I think we are improving a lot in not many times our step.
And these guys have certainly reached a new level here. That was a great maneuver there. Löffler going wide a little. Johansson trying to take advantage, then sliding as well. And the lucky third was none other than Rickard Hellstein. And the lucky fourth, in fact, is Antonio Cumbria of the Core Racing, because he has been able get pretty close to these three racing here, and he's not quite in a fighting position, but he might join. Oh, and now Johansson is, he might be out for good. He came out of Eau Rouge, he crashed into the wall, and he went off the track spectacularly there in the back of the screen, and he is trying to recover the track. He definitely is. Car looks awfully damaged. There's a huge amount of damage to the right. He's going to limp back to the pits and have it repaired, but it looks like this is a very slow car, at least for a whole lap, and he's down in 14 already. But we're still, I suppose, with Andreas Löffler. Löffler now on the curbs, something that the Dorrent doesn't like at all. And Löffler now actually off the track a little, trying to defend himself as good he can against Rickard Hellstein. Hellstein just nearly touching Loeffler here. Hellstein forced to go a little wide. Now there might be a gap because Loeffler really is all over the place at this point. And I suppose they're all starting. And ooh, that is very close indeed. Hellstein touching Loeffler there. Hellstein touching Loeffler as they go into Les Combes, but Loeffler just barely managing to stay the course, and that means that that core racer, Antonio Cambria, has finally really reached these two and has made it a three-sum fight for positions 7, 8, and 9 again.
I am not sure, but looks like Goran Johansson I'm not sure, but looks like it have a puncture on his front left tire.
I wouldn't be surprised as we see Hellstein with a wild slide into the runoff area, and, didn't I say it, here's our lucky fourth guy, it's Cambria, he's up in 8, and Loeffler does have a bit of breathing space now, which should come in handy, because really that Black Rebels car is certainly crazy. He seems to have all sorts of trouble just sticking to the grey stuff. You can see it as he powers out of the turns, you can see it as he brakes into the turns. There's a lot of movement in the car, especially if you compare it to, for example, Hellstein's ride, which looks as if it's more or less glued to the best race line here at Spa-Francorchamps.
Yeah, I would say that it looks like Andreas Loeffler have some kind of problems with the tire circuit. It's not
Yep.
at this stage of the race.
Talking about stage of the race, we should give our viewers kind of an idea of how long we've been into the race. Do you have access to the race watch, David, from your position?
Yes, of course.
And tell us. 64 minutes remaining, meaning 1/3 of the race is up, and now Loeffler is definitely beaten by Cambria, who moves into 7, and a brilliant move that was as they went out of Bruxelles. Loeffler had one of these moments we just talked about. The car was just not good powering out of the turn, and Cambria then managed to slip past, and in the run-up to double gauche, really a very nice passing move here, and Cambria already pulling away a little, trying to make good on that bit of advantage he does have right now, while Loeffler is still fighting like mad just to keep that yellow Black Rebels racer on the track.
At this moment, Eckhart Goran Johansson pit out. He's already back on track.
Okay, and while I'm still following that fight, because just so good, let me tell you that Bryan Stark is still way out in front. Peter Duivelaar, for example, is in La Source right now, and Stark is approaching Eau Rouge, just to give you an impression of how close it is. But I think we should move to positions 3 and 4, should say, because there we have Mikko Korkiakoski fighting really back-to-back with Michael Breutigam. And that is a great fight indeed, and it's for podium. And Breutigam, you can see as they come out of Eau Rouge here, really is trying to put as much pressure as he can on Korkiakoski. And this fight has been going on for quite some time. He's out of slipstream now at the end of Kemmel, but Korkiakoski moves back in. But now Korkiakoski has run a bit wide, Breutigam moves past, and he's passed. Breutigam is in 3, but maybe he has overplayed his hand. He definitely has. Great move by Korkiakoski, nudging Breutigam a little to the side there. There's some awesome racing here by these two. And Breutigam now in the run-up to double gauche, again in position number 4, where he found himself just a few moments ago. He was up in 3 for one turn, and now he's back in 4 Porsche. And Korkiakoski and Breutigam, it looks to me as if they're both taking like a mini break from that fight, really trying not to get too close to these turns, and it might be that, ooh, and Breutigam now, bit of problems there on the curbs, obviously, which is what happens a lot with that racer here. which gives Korkiakoski that breathing space he needs and to concentrate just on the perfect race line and not always to have your opponent in your rear view mirror. Speaking of mirrors, Doran doesn't have a mirror, doesn't it, David?
Yeah. Looks like it.
Well, we have a little TV screen actually installed in the cockpit, the virtual cockpit, so that the racers can see what's happening behind them. It's really a cool feature of the mod, and it really works very, very well because the visuals, at least on my screen, are fantastic. You can actually see the number of the car following you, so that's really well done.
Have more definition than a mirror.
Yep. Speaking of the mod, we'll definitely have an interview with the guy who did it, but who was it?
It was Jason Reese from FlatOut Motorsports. He already helped us in the past with other mods, or at least cooperating some features. But this season he made the full work.
And I must say, it works like a charm, doesn't it?
Yes. And we really need to work like a charm. Make out.
Yes, certainly. We really needed a stable mod. I mean, the last one looked perfect as well. It was huge fun out on the track to play with, but it was just not stable enough in some respects. Although I must say, we also had other technical problems last season, and so far this looks perfectly stable, perfectly clean, and absolutely exciting sim racing event here, at least on my screen.
Eckhart, sorry, I will change. We have Eric Martel in position 23 with the car into a wall. Now looks like he's managing to get the car out of the runoff, the gravel runoff. But I would say that this is very, very damaged.
Yep, and ooh, he causes one of the Roaring Pipes Maniacs guys to slide and spin. Let's hope that that is not by chance one of the decisive moments here of the race for the Maniacs. It was Marcin Skrzypczak. As Eric Martel recovered the track, Skrzypczak came up from behind and tried to do an evasive movement, but I think the track was still a little wet for that. At any rate, he slipped, and from what I can see, there's a little damage to Skrzypczak's wing, and Skrzypczak is into the pits now, straight away. Skrzypczak into the pits in 8, and let's hope that there wasn't any serious damage. I didn't quite see the contact Skrzypczak had with the walls. And there's serious damage to the front, to the right-hand front of Marcin's ride, and many cars now pitting in. There's lots of action in the pits. We have Skrzypczak in the pits, we have Bob Hutchins in the pits, we have Andreas Löffler in the pits, we have second of the Black Visors, Neil Gold in the pits as well, and as Skrzypczak already leaves, here is, I think, Martel coming into the pits as well with that banged up Project D racer. So Skrzypczak rejoins the track, and he rejoins in 14. And from the way we at Blue Flag figured the tire use and the mod, they should be able to do just one stop, shouldn't they?
Yes, but depends on the tires they choose at the beginning of the race and what tires they choose in the stop. I mean, in the tests we did at the Black Rebels, we found that you can do 2 stops with the soft and be as fast in the wall race distance than 1 stop with the hard tires.
And now it's starting to rain again. This is Spa, folks, and we do have a perfect weather mod as well in place, which really works extremely well today, because there we are. We had a bit of a sunny spot. Track was almost dry, almost, not quite, and now it's raining again. And Jose, you might want to go to position 14 and 13, because this is where Marcin Skrzypczak is trying to fight his way back. And this might give our viewers a chance to see how much he actually damaged his racer, his Doran JE4, in that crash that we just saw, or that we saw just off the screen. At least it was just off the screen in my visuals here. It's completely banged up on both sides, and it's also completely banged up on the right front. And knowing the lines that Marcin can usually take... Oh, and there was another Project D racer off in the same turn. And it must have been a bit of a deja vu for Skrzypczak as he came through there. And is that Mongas, or is that the same racer again?
Sorry.
Yes, please.
Really interesting pit battle between in P6 and 7 between
Michael Beltingham and Peter Duivelaar. Yes, yes. I was about to say it, Jose.
Okie dokie.
Yes.
I mean, this is the STC. There's interesting stuff all over the place. Michael Brautigan out of the pits in 7, and Peter Duivelaar out of the pits in 8. So these seem to have been just the regular kind of pit stops. And we're actually waiting for Korkiakoski and see where he comes back on the track. And I hope that these guys, if they picked dry tires, I mean, with the rain as it is now, David, that would be a serious problem, wouldn't it?
I am not sure, Rickard. I think the track maybe is not still completely wet at the moment, but if it doesn't stop raining, we will have a wet track again, so it can be a problem.
It certainly can, and as you said, the Doran coming out of the turns, not the easiest of sim racers, and especially if, like Peter Duivelaar right now, you're also on the curbs coming out of the turn, and in rain it really gets worse a lot, doesn't it?
Yes, yes. Not an easy car to drive.
Well, I hope we're following 6 and 7, because it's Hugo Heckenberg there defending like mad against Michael Brautigan, but Brautigan is passed. Brautigan is passed in the first of in a campus, now going out on Courbe Paul Frere, and however there was a voice in between, and make yourself heard.
No, I was just about to say that if the guys that pit just before it started raining, they choose the dry tires, if it continues raining, they will be in really big trouble, because they will have to make another stop. And,
Yep.
I'm not sure if the guys that pit later they choose the wet tires or not, but
It's a complete lottery, isn't it?
continues, they can win a lot of positions.
Yep, it's a complete lottery. There is still some rain, some virtual rain on my screen, though I must say it looks as if it's not as much as it was before, and also the track looks suspiciously dry. So maybe after all the dries were good. I think we just have to wait and see what happens.
5, really big accident.
Yes, it's Michael Brautigan. Engine is burning, and I think he's out of the race.
Oh, yes.
Straight into the wall after our route.
Oh, so the same position that we had the Gupklubben racer just a few seconds ago. And he's in the pits, which means he's out of the race. Fantastic show by Michael Brautigan here for his first race in the STC. But right now, I'm afraid he's out. Folks, can I point you to a really close battle between in 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. The people are really all over the place. It's many cars really close to each other. And it all starts with So then, I hear from David that while we watch Guge Hultmann of the Gubbklubben Racing, that actually his team manager is with us, who is Robin Johansson, and he should be with me any moment now.
At pit.
Thank you very much. And we're still waiting for Robin Johansson for that interview, and I'm just asking straight into the blue because the fellow is up in Sweden while I'm in Germany. And Robin, are you with me ready for the interview now? Apparently he isn't, so I should think we should leave Guge Hultmann for the time being and move one position or two positions up, because there's that fierce battle for positions 15, 16, and 14.
Is with us now.
Thank you very much indeed. Robin Johansson, you with us?
Yes, I am.
Brilliant. Didn't we see your name in another team last season?
Yes, you did.
And that was Danielsson Motorsports.
Exactly.
Can you tell us, just before we come talk about Gubbklubben, a little bit about Danielsson Motorsports? Where are they? This is the first race of the STC, and neither the first nor the second team is there.
I really don't know where they go, but I think they left for they are afraid of us.
That is a very good reason indeed. So Robin, tell us a bit about the Gubbklubben. What kind of guys are you?
Most of us is very old, I think, but they don't think so. They feel
okay.
young, but not. They are very old.
Guys, sorry, let me interrupt the interview because we have a lot of action in the pit. We have Ihab Habas, Theo De Bruin. We have at least 5 cars spitting out right now. Eric Martel, Mikkel Harjons.
And we have lots of rain. Lots of rain in Spa again.
It's to rain again.
It looks as if some guys have to go back a second time. Yeah, but here we are, first time with Robin Johansson. Tell us a little bit about how you entered the STC this year. Is this like a new team, or have you been around for a while?
We have played a little, but it's 2 or 3 small teams that have been won.
Right,
So
and
the first time we all drive together.
oh, brilliant! And I see you also picked up one of the old blue flag racers, my friend Kent Carlane.
Yeah.
And he's a very fast guy. Which race will he join us?
Guys,
I hope soon.
I am sorry for the...
Never mind, David, jump in.
We are in a very critical situation in the race. Bryan Stark is pitting out right now in position 6. I think it's starting to rain a lot right now, and the race is changing.
It certainly is, it certainly is. But we're still with the interview, and what do you expect of this season, Robin? First season for Gubbklubben. What's your aim?
We hope to get top 10 position.
Whoa, that is a high aim indeed. Basically, Blue Flag Racing sets the bar for you. We were 9th last season, and it was a lot of work, let me tell you. And how do you want to reach this aim?
I really don't know. We hope that we can all find more speed and to work
okay.
to get the speed.
Right, you talk about working together, so what did the preparation look like for this race, for example?
Train all day.
All day. How about the Swedish economy? It must suffer.
No.
So you can like have a working life, real life, and then train all day at the same time. I appreciate that.
Yes, it's perfect.
Alright, and weather like this, rain and slippery track, that should be good for Swedish guys, shouldn't it?
No, we hate rain.
You do? You wait for the first STC in snow. David, is there a snow race on the horizon in STC?
Yeah, we have sent some emails to the Symbian guys, but I had no answer from them. I don't know why.
Okay. Well, Robin Johansson, thank you very much indeed for this delightful interview and for the insights into Gup Klubben, the old guy. Is it really in English, the old guys club?
Yeah, yes.
And you do share a certain tendency for a certain kind of woman with the Black Rebels, don't you?
I think so.
Yep. And I think David is the guy to approach in all questions concerning that.
Yes. Well, I think we have the same tests. The same feeling when it comes to pin-ups and babes. it's a tradition in the Black Rebels, and I guess it's as well in the Gup Klubben team.
Okay, keep it alive, guys. Thank you, Robin. And back to the race in full.
Thank you too.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Robin.
And Jose, can I point you to positions 7, 8 and 9? Because there is a massive battle here with Antonio Cambria, and right now it's your teammate, Ben Buitendijk, trying to make a move in La Source. And they're followed by David Safiu in 9. Yes, David?
Yes, well, you were focused in the interview. I have been following some guys in the racing channel.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, tell us.
And I have seen a lots of slidings because the rain.
Yep.
When you try to brake the car and it doesn't want to. I have seen some of that. And the track at the beginning of the race, it was damp. Now it's wet. It says wet in the track condition.
Yep. It's fast turning into, really, really wet, as in it's raining buckets.
The forecast says heavy rain, so...
It certainly does, yeah. And so, for example, I'm following David Safiu at the moment, and he is sure having some trouble getting out of Eau Rouge and then down Camel, and he's spinning now again. So, yes, we see trouble all over the place.
David Clark hit a wall right now. He's stopped in a gravel runoff, trying to go back to the track.
Okay, guys, I suppose we should just have a rundown from 1 to 7. Yeah, okay, sorry, Mr. Jose, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of people with dry tires.
It looks, yeah.
Goran Johansson is on pits now, changing tires again. So I think that there was a lot of people that didn't change to wet when they made their scheduled pit stop.
Yep, and I also just now saw Marcin Skrzypczak off the track. Now that is something that you hardly ever see. So really the conditions must be absolutely awful. And I tell you what, Jose, why don't we do another rundown just to give viewers after the interview kind of, a chance to see where everyone is, because I'm in position number 1 right now, and there is Peter Duivelaar of the Roaring Pipes Maniacs, and while we were doing that splendid little interview, he has sneaked up into position number 1, and we didn't notice.
Okay, Marcin is going on pit. He surely was on problems because Andreas Loeffler fast hit very, very fast on a straight, and a lot of people is on pits right now, Eckhart.
Yeah, they're all going for the wets now, I think, and it looks as if Duivelaar is about the last guy out, still on dries, or he changed very, very early indeed, just some kind of different strategy. So Duivelaar in 1, and here comes our second rundown of the night. Richard Hellstein in 2 for Torrent Motorsports. Now, what a great way to start a season for them, if they can make that stick. Andreas Loeffler for the Black Rebels in 3. And after the problems we've seen on his car earlier, this is really a surprise. Ben Buitendijk in 4, and under heavy pressure from Mikko Korkiakoski, who again is our man on the move here. And Buitendijk trying to defend against Korkiakoski. Korkiakoski at the end of Camel, slipping by, but just so. Let's see if he can make it stick. He's on the wet curbs now. He's riding them extremely softly, and yes, he can make it stick. He's passed Buitendijk in 5 and Korkiakoski in 4. Bryan Stark, who led the race for a long time, in 6, passing a very slow FlatOut Club car. Man. In 8, Bob Hutchins for the Black Visors. In 9, there we have him again, and look at that car. It's a wreck of a Roaring Pipes Maniacs racer. It's Marcin Skrzypczak, who really has just trying to keep it on the grey stuff seems to be extremely difficult. Antonio Cumbria follows him closely. Another banged up car here in the front, position number 10. Hugo Hackenberg in 11. That car looks almost virgin to me. Certainly does. A little bit of a dent on the left-hand side, but that's all. In 12, Simon Maluish for the Torrent Motorsports. Followed closely in 13 by Gugge Hultmann, with Michael Hart-Jones sandwiched there, but apparently a lap down. David Safiu of the Motorsports AG, he's the only remaining racer of that team, because we saw Michael Brautigam with a huge fire in his engine, with a blown engine, and Safiu does have problems as well staying on track, and his car, also the front, is completely banged up. Then Fortunato Fiorito in 15 for the Core. In 16, Bevan Johnson for the FlatOut Club. In 17, Neil Gold for the Black Visors. In 18, Göran Johansson, who's been to the pits at least 2 times. Once because there was this awful damage after that crash we saw, and then we suppose he changed back again to rain tires. In 19, going very slowly indeed, David Clark of the FlatOut Club, but still in the race. Ihab Abbas also still in the race in 20 for Eni Motorsports. And yet another guy who's still in the race, the sole racer for Blue Flag Racing, Theo de Bruyne. Really in a battle there with Abbas in 20 and 21. In 22, Michael Hart-Jones, so we still have both of the Eni racers on the track, and Hart-Jones goes into the pits, apparently also to change to wets. And that is the last car on the track. So we still have 22 of 25 who started out, which with these conditions is quite a good result, I would say. And it's 38 minutes to go in this first race of the first season.
It have been one of the most exciting races I have seen on STC Eckart, with all the weather changes and all the leader changes, everything have made the race very interesting.
Yep. I do have a really bad conscience here, because it seems we lost, we skipped so many scenes because we were someplace else with our camera. We should have something like a split screen with 4 cameras following at the same time. We still wouldn't have caught all the action. So really big sorry to all the teams where we didn't catch the decisive moments. Right now, let me tell you that Peter Duivelaar is in the pits, which means that he's down to 2, while Richard Helstein takes the lead for Torrent Motorsports. So in their first race this season, in their comeback season, so to speak, Torrent Motorsports lead the race. Whoever would have thought that? We do have a guessing game. It totally is. I have some of the results of the guessing game, which is run by, I think, Ross Belfort, on our page, on our forum. And I don't think the name Torrent Motorsports crept up in the top 3. I think that Simon himself actually put them in one of the podium positions. I'm not quite sure he actually chose one. But and we were making jokes about it.
Sorry.
Yes, please.
We were watching Antonio Cambria overtaking Marcin, and they touched door to door, and Marcin went into the wall, and now he had to pit in again.
Again.
Yes,
And-
yes, he's beating it right now.
So really, it's a race to forget for Marcin Skrzypczak. He's been into the wall now for the third time, I think, and this, for someone of his skills, must be extremely frustrating. He's back in the pits, and this is a team event, don't forget, so what he needs to do is get out on the track, swallow his pride, forget what has happened, and just finish the race, no matter what shape the car is in, isn't it? I mean, it's the points that count for the team, isn't it, David?
Yes, yes. This is the main objective for any team, end the race and bring points home, no matter how, no matter when.
Yeah, and I should say, don't know if we follow his racer at the moment. It looks so terrible. It was such a nice looking racer at the beginning of the race. I don't know what they'll do to him at RPM headquarters. I don't know what they'll do to the guys he got into contact with. But it certainly doesn't look like a really nice racing car to me at this point. It's completely in tatters. The sole thing that's missing is that he's losing his rear wing, really, is it? Apart from that, everything that can be broken definitely is broken.
Yes, it is not a lucky day for him. About Eckart, what we were talking about Torrent Motorsports before, and the unexpected thing, I was saying that because if you take the race 20 laps back, Richard Helstein was on P10, I think, or he was fighting for a position between P8 and P11, and now he's leading the race with not a huge gap, but a big one.
Yep, it is certainly a surprise. However, it might still be that he needs to pit at any given point because of tires giving up or more rain to come. At this point, with the rain having subsided again, and if you look at the virtual spray behind the racers, it's definitely not as wet as it was before. He might just have made the right choice, and he might just survive. But if he's out of the race due to another pit stop, it's Mikko Korkiakoski in 2, who's waiting for his chance. And who would have thought that he would in fact be back up after that crash at the start?
Yeah, you're right.
So it's really been a lottery. It's really been ups and downs for the teams, and I suppose those teams who followed the race on the pit walls, so who have the live timing and are then linked by TeamSpeak or so, the discussions must really go, this way and that way, because there's been such a lot of things happening here on the track. Saying this, it's 33 minutes to go, so still quite a lot of time out there, and the cars are really scattered all over the place, but we do have some pairs still fighting for position here very closely. So my infallible fight spotter, David, has spotted this fight here. Bob Hutchins in 12 now has just been overtaken, not by Ben Buitendijk, who's following, but by Fortunato Fiorito, who is now in 11 for Core Racing. And all three of them have kept their virtual rides, let's say, fairly intact. They must have either had a bit more luck than the other guys, or they must have made the right decisions at the right time. Anyway, here they are in 11, 12, 13, fighting for positions, but it's Hutchins losing out rather quickly here, and Buitendijk closing in on him. And with the speed that Buitendijk has, and he's making a move now. This is a very unusual place to make a move, and Hutchins he's either surprised by what's happening, or he does have a serious problem with his steering or with the tires, because he goes into the wall. As Buitendijk goes past, there was a huge gap between both racers, so no way Buitendijk has touched him. I suppose there must have been something wrong with the steering there for a moment, and or he was just simply very much surprised that Buitendijk made that move at that point. A very unusual point in Spa to make a move, indeed. So we have Fiorito in 11 now, and Buitendijk in 12, so he's in the dirty dozen, so to speak. And we have Guga Holtmann of the Gubbklubben. We interviewed his boss a little earlier, Robin Johansson, and he is in 10 after, again, a very eventful race for him.
Guys, I don't know if you noticed, but there are no more raindrops falling, so...
Yep. I didn't want to say it.
The wet tires will be gone in 5 laps if that goes dry, Eckhart.
Yep. And I didn't want to say it because with the rain coming off and on and on and off, you know, it makes me feel, you know, it makes me look kind of stupid saying it again and again. And I'm again talking about the spray, which is kind of an indicator for the amount of rain that the track still figures is out there. And there is still a lot of spray behind these racers, isn't there? We see Michael Hart-Jones making room here for Guga Holtmann in 10. Hart-Jones, that's another racer that looks very much beaten up, but as we said before, it's over in the points, and he's still in there, he's still taking those points home. And whereas Blue Flag only fielded 1 car, so that means we're already missing out on many points in just this race alone.
So Eckhart, we have Neil Gold at pit. I have to say Marcin made another pit stop.
Oh dear.
I don't know.
Oh dear.
He decided to go on dry tires.
Yeah, I think he's at the point now where really it doesn't really matter so much what he does. It's more or less a lost cause for him anyway, if you consider the speed he usually has. So he might just as well do a bit of poker, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And any sign of Rickard Helstein in the pits, or is he still going strong out there? And
Not really. Looks like he's strong. He have a gap of 12 seconds. Anyway,
okay.
Andreas Loeffler at pit. I guess he's changing tires to dry. Yeah, I'm serious, Eckhart. And if you follow some guys in the race monitor, when they reach La Source, that maybe is the slowest corner of the circuit,
yep.
you will notice that all the cars have problems with the wet tires.
Certainly.
So I think we will have more pit stops in the next laps.
So, back to the lottery again, is it?
Yeah.
It was certainly a wise choice for the first race. It shows there's lots of action going on here. It's a bit like Formula 1 this season, isn't it? Where if we have a rainy race, there really is an interesting race to watch.
Yeah, always.
And in position 10 we have Fortunato Fiorito, and he's followed by Ben Buitendijk. So that is a close fight still, going strong here all the time. But I don't think Buitendijk has a chance to get past really at this point. Yes, David?
Eckhart, we have Rickard Helstein at pit. So...
Alright, let's move there then, and let's see if he is overtaken in the pits.
Yeah, Mikko is P1 already, Bryan Stark P2. We have a spin from Marcin in La Source.
Yep. And Bryan Stark very nearly crashed into Marcin there. But now we have a flat-out 1-2. Blimey. Finally, after about 70 minutes of the race, flat-out are where they wanted to be all the time. And at the same time, I see that both of the ANI racers have left the server at the same time. So either we have just a coincidence there, or any technical problem. So Korkiakoski, the pole sitter, back in one. That must be a strange feeling indeed. I mean, he's been down to like 6 and 7 and 8, and he's tried to fight his way back up. We saw him stuck in 5th for a long time. He was then up in 4th, I think. In 3rd we saw him, and we saw him in 2nd for a long time now, behind that Torrent Motorsports racer, Richard Helstin. And now he's in 1, and he does have his teammate behind him at a safe distance, I would call it. And in 3, it's Peter Duivelaar of the Roaring Pipes Maniacs, with a car that looks decidedly better than Marcin's. So it looks as if the big teams are actually putting in the hole here, putting in a great performance tonight, and are on the podium. And yes, there's still some spray, but not in all the places. So it looks as if that track is indeed, as David said, slowly drying off. I really wonder what tires Korkiakoski actually has fit on his racer at this point. Let's hope for him it's dry.
Well, do you think the FlatOut guys are with dry tires? I think.
They really have to be, haven't they? Because they could follow the leader easily in the laps before, and it was still very wet then. So I suppose they should also be on wets, and I suppose they should be pitting, or they're waiting for more rain.
I am waiting to Richard Helstin to cross the start-finish line to compare the FlatOut guys' lap times with his lap times. So if you wait 5 seconds, I will have an answer.
Yes, and I'm just following Korkiakoski down Camel. He's about to lap Theo de Bruyn in the Blue Flag Racer. And there's a little touch there. Poor Theo gets knocked off a little by Korkiakoski, who doesn't want to lose any time at all here at Spa. And at least at Camel, there's still a lot of virtual water on that track. It's still very, very wet out there, so at least that breakpoint, you're probably safer on wets.
And we have Hekemer pitting to change tires again.
Yes.
Okay.
And we have Peter Duivelaar and Bryan Stark at pit as well.
All right.
Marcin Skrzypczak at pit.
For the 7th time, the 8th time.
Yeah. Ben Buitens at pit.
It's a race to forget for Marcin Skrzypczak. It certainly is. And if you're listening to this later on in the canned version of the broadcast, Marcin, better luck next time. And Korkiakoski is off the track a little at Courbe Paul Frère, but he can recover. And this might be the incident that sends him to the pits as well.
Yes, he had a gap with Richard Helstin of 42 seconds. So
Ooh.
managed to pick out with ahead.
Should be very close.
First.
And Korkiakoski pitting in, Theo de Bruyn pitting in as well in the back. And let's wait now and see where Richard Helstin approaches the pits. And Richard Helstin, while you possibly stay with Korkiakoski in the pits, he's approaching the last turn now. He is into the last turn now. He's out on the start and finish straight now.
It will be very close.
It certainly will be. He's crossing the finish line now. He's approaching La Source. He's braking into La Source.
Mikko is on track.
Korkiakoski back on track, and Helstin has got him in his sights. And this, we've talked about this before, it's certainly a psychological advantage to actually see your opponent, David, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is.
Especially on something like Hemel, this really long straight where you can actually, for a long time, consider the distance between your racer and the guy in front.
Exactly. Ricard has recovered 38 seconds with Mikko pit stop. Now they are
Okay.
a separation of 5 seconds.
And we are with 20 minutes to go in the race, and it looks as if we're set for a battle. Between number 1, Mikko Korkiakoski. Looks as if there's going to be a huge battle with only 20 minutes of the race to go. Mikko Korkiakoski and into Richard Hellstein for Torrent Motorsports. David Jose, if you were Hellstein at this point, would you go full risk, or would you rather say, it's a position number 2, it's a long season, I'd better stay safe?
Well, for me, not full risk, but I will try to push until I have the first, until the first scaring thing happens to me. Then
Okay. As in you're sliding through La Source or something.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, David?
I think that with this uncertain weather we are having today, I will be pushing as much as possible, waiting for a weather change or a mistake by Mikko, and as Jose said, until my first scary mistake.
Okay, scary movie it is then for Mr. Hellstein, and he's closing in. He definitely is closing in. If you compare the distance we have now between them to the distance we just had, I think he is in fact closing in on Mikko Korkiakoski. Yes, indeed. Should be about half a second that he managed to take away.
No, it's more, Ricard, it's more. It's around a second and a bit.
Oh dear. That means with another 4 laps he should be there. That means he should be there in about 8 minutes. That means we have a fight on our hands for the last 10 minutes, unless the weather starts playing lottery again. Okay, so while he's closing in, and this is what I call a team that is really getting used to each other. I was just going to say, Jose, why don't we make a rundown? When that whisper came on my earphones with Jose saying, Eckhart, why don't we make a rundown at this point? Yeah, it's certainly time for a rundown. It is. We're, I suppose, with either number 1 or number 2, Mikko Korkiakoski or Richard Hellstein. And we should move to number 3, Peter Duivelaar, who at this point is just lapping the last Motorsports AG racer. That should be David Safiu. So Duivelaar for the Roaring Pipes Maniacs in 3. Bryan Stark for the FlatOut in 4. And he used to be in 2, remember? But 4 is, I think, if I remember, it's it's 1 down on his grid position. Hugo Heckenberg has led a perfect race for the Flying Dutchman. He was in 13, he's up in 5, silently, with a, as I said before, virgin car, no scratch, nothing. Pit crew will be very pleased indeed with Hugo. In 6 now, there's the battle. We have Fortunato Fiorito, who's been in battles all the race, I would say, more or less. In 7, Yuri Braham, second of the Flying Dutchman, going wide at this point here in double gauche. And having to let past Antonio Cambria. So that's a big battle here for 6, 7 and 8, with about 15 minutes to go. As I said, Braham in 8.
Corti.
Okay, we'll go there. In 9, Ben Buitendijk for the Black Rebels. He's been in many battles, but right now it's a bit lonesome where he is. In 10, Simon Maluish behind poor Marcin Skrzypczak, who is at this point then a lap down. Gugge Hultmann for the Gubklubben in 11. Running wide here out of double gauche. Andreas Löffler in 13 for the Black Rebels. Nope, back in 12 for the Black Rebels. Having a fight there in Bruxelles with 13th positioned Göran Johansson. Gubklubben racer, another mighty banged up virtual ride here. 14, David Zafiu, we talked about him earlier. His teammate, don't forget, blew up his engine, and so he's out, Michael Bräutigam. 15 for Bob Hutchins, who is going very slowly indeed. There must be something wrong with his ride. It looks as if he just had a big crash and is limping back to the pits now. He's passed at this moment by Neil Gold, who then is up to 15, his teammate. Hutchins in 16. Bevan Johnson in 17. That is up from 22 on the grid, so 5 positions. Well done, Bevan. David Clark, his teammate, in 18. That is down from 4, so he must have had a rather unfortunate race, just as Marcin Skrzypczak, and his racer looks pretty much the same. There he is, Skrzypczak in 19, still carrying that completely humiliated RPM racer around the track. It's hats off to Skrzypczak, and look at that. Thing must be near to undrivable.
Yes, but
And Theo de Bruyne, sorry.
as kudos for him. As
Yeah, kudos.
to be always alone on P1.
Yep,
He's still here fighting with the car to end the race. So my
it's
respect.
fantastic. Yes, certainly. Our respect goes out to Marcin. Yes, as you say, he's so much used to being like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds in the lead, and here he is, finds himself. It's a bit like Lewis Hamilton fighting for position 19, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
And Theo de Bruyne, after Blue Flag Racers, also seems to have some serious problems with his racer. Also quite slow, quite banged up, but bringing those points home for my team. And that's the last racer on the grid. We've lost 5 players due to problems not caused by the mod, not caused by the track, but just problems, real sim racing problems that occur during race. And Theo de Bruyne in 20 is the last man standing here on the grid. Which means time to either go to a fight or time to go back to the top.
Huge crash by Yuri Braham. He's out of the track in the old pit lane exit, the up of the hill.
I suppose we're in position 8 now, Yuri Braham, and I was just talking about the Flying Dutchman and their great performance in their first race here, and we see Yuri Braham leave the track via escape button, and there was a huge crash in Eau Rouge just before now, and it was Antonio Cambria, I think, who was involved in that crash. And David, you saw the crash, what happened?
Well, there was a bit of a distance between them, so I think Antonio has nothing to do with the crash, but was a Yuri mistake, or maybe something was wrong already with the car. I'm not sure.
Okay, so it was Yuri following Cambria, and then all of a sudden something went wrong, and he went off in Eau Rouge.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, we've seen that a lot today, haven't we? And this is, the joys of sim racing. It's what you see in real life in Spa as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly.
And sometimes with really tragic consequences. So let's count ourselves lucky we're just sim racing here. No harm done other than an ego or two hurt, but everybody's still safe and well at home.
don't know why Eckhart. I am seeing a lot of cars with troubles right now. I don't know if the track is getting wetter now or it's the tires.
Yeah. I have a suspicion that the track is still a little bit wet. If you watch closely, you can still see these wet kind of marks behind the rear wheels, but there's no more spray. So the track is really drying up now.
There is a lot of people pitting in again.
Yes.
P7 is pitting in.
Yeah, it's Fortunato Foria pitting in, and it's also Bevan Johansson.
Yeah, I really have no idea what's going on there. There still is some spray if you're in the vicinity of where the track is really down, of Cours-Paul Frère, of Blanchimont. There's still some spray there, but other parts of the track seem to be almost completely dry. So, well, we don't have puddles yet in sim racing, but we do have tracks that dry off differently in different places. So, from my view, it's really a mixed report sheet here for the track as far as wetness goes. And I think some of the players were maybe on soft tires and picked them too early, and they're just gone now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was one of the chances I was thinking of, Eckhart. The guys that went to pit too early to put the dry tires, and now they are suffering.
Yeah, if they chose the soft ones and relied on the track being rather wet for maybe one or two more laps, and to cool the tires, then maybe the soft ones have gone. On the other hand, I mean, the track is still some sort of wet in most places, so really the soft ones shouldn't go very fast. And I'm out of my depth, I must say. I haven't played the mod enough, I suppose, in changeable weather that is, to really understand what's going on here. But what I see is Mikko Korkiakoski still leading the pack, and with a safety assist now to Richard Hellstein in 2, who doesn't seem to have the strength or doesn't seem to have the right car at the right time to be able to really follow Korkiakoski at this point in the race. Or it might be what we said before, that another wise decision would be to simply take it easy from here on and collect the points. There's many points for position number 2. Simon Malouish is still in the race, still going strong, so it's going to be an overall great result for Torin Motorsports, and that might just be what the guys have talked about on TeamSpeak and what they have decided for Hellstein to play it safe and take home that position number 2. We'll definitely have an interview with the podium, the top 3 guys again, so if he stays with the top 3, within the top 3, he might tell us after the race. Spot tells me that unfortunately Theo de Bruyn is out of the race after a huge crash, and however he certainly wins some points for Blue Flag in position number 20 because he finished 75% of the race, and that means he is in the points. This might also apply to positions 21 and 22 if I followed that correctly, but I'm not quite sure. Well, David spotted the closest fight on the grid for us. It's 17 and 18. It's David Clark in a utterly banged up FlatOut Club racer. Remember, he used to be in position number 4 on the grid, and he is battling hugely with Marcin Skrzypczak, and we talked about him at length, and right now Skrzypczak moves past while Clark moves off. I think he saw Skrzypczak approaching in the rearview mirror, moved just a trifle too much to the right-hand side, got on the different surface there, and then it was off to the wall again for Clark. So, I mean, how much more damage can that Doran JE4 possibly take? Clark now in 17, Skrzypczak in 16, which means with Bevan Johnson in 18 that the FlatOut Club racers, and now Skrzypczak is into the wall because he has trouble powering out of La Source. And I do repeat myself, how much more damage can that Doran take? It is must be close to impossible to just keep it on the track. I don't really want to see the movements of Marcin's force feedback wheel there. Must be quite terrible. You see, he's having trouble just keeping it in a straight line on Kemmel, which does say a lot.
Eckhart, in what comes to the competition, what does it mean competing against RPM with Marcin? It's a brilliant driver, a professional, and having him behind today. I mean, even ending the race in P10, P11, P13, P14, you can consider it a good result when you have a guy like Marcin behind.
Yep, even if it's just down to bad luck, you know, having the car in the wrong place in the wrong situation. From what I saw, I mean, we couldn't possibly follow all the moves, but from what I saw, it really was totally bad luck that one of the lap racers after an incident came back on track while Skrzypczak was just moving past, and that sent him into the walls for the first time. And I think that was the beginning of this odyssey that we're seeing here, of poor Marcin Skrzypczak having to fight just to stay on track. And yes, it is of course a matter of very, very bad luck indeed. On the other hand, I for one, if I would ever end a race in a grid with Skrzypczak, and I would be better positioned than he at the end of the race, it never happened actually, but if that would happen, I would count myself just lucky. It really must be like one of the top racers in another series, like, you know, Ivan Muller in the WTCC. He sometimes ends up in 17 because there's been a crash he was involved in. And it must feel good for the privateers coming into across the finish line in front of him. There's probably a saying along the lines of one man's bad luck is another man's good luck. I don't quite remember what it is in English, but there certainly is a saying like that in German. And and he goes wide, and he can just recover. That was Skrzypczak there, out of Eau Rouge, and especially a turn like Eau Rouge that really needs your full concentration, and a completely safe car must be horrific in a ride like this. David tells me we're into the last lap, if I understood him correctly, at least Korkiakoski. Oh no, second to last lap. Right, thank you very much, David. And second to last lap for Korkiakoski, so Jose, I suppose following the race leader is the thing to do now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
So Korkiakoski, once we...
They are closer than before, probably not.
They're not. but I think we should honor him by showing his last lap in full, because I don't see any really close battles in the field anymore. Track is still a bit wet, and you see a torrent racer right behind, and that is Simon Lewis down, so don't worry, all of you FlatOut fans. It's still Korkiakoski a long way away at the top, and it certainly was a brilliant decision by FlatOut to bring him into the team from DHR and take him on the roster. And he's here to score points, and he does that job brilliantly in this first race. He still has a little more than 1 lap to go, but I think it's safe to say that this race is definitely his to lose. So while we see Korkiakoski doing his final lap, David, a first minute summary of the first race of the new season and your impressions and feelings at this point.
Well, my feelings are that if all the races of the season are like this one, I will need therapy, you know. It has been crazy. It has been an amazing race, unexpected, and more than we could expect before the race. We had a lot of action, we had different leaders, we have changes in all the positions. Well, what more can we ask for at that?
I totally agree. And Jose, from behind the camera, you're also one of the two persons possibly the most involved in the birth of the series, in keeping the series alive. What's your feelings with Korkiakoski about, I don't know what, like 2/3 of the lap down to the first win?
Well, I'm very happy about how the race went and this new season. And I'm very happy that we get rid of all the problems we suffered in the past season, and that all the points are assigned in the track. And I have to say I'm also happy for FlatOut taking this win, because they did not have many in the past. Of course they have success too, but I think it's a very important win for them, and they are two teams, actually the only team that remains with the two teams with us, and they were always very committed to the series. They made a fantastic work with the skins and with the renders, and that is a lot of hours of work. So I have to say, personally, I'm happy that FlatOut is having success in this season.
I couldn't agree more. And here he goes, Mikko Korkiakoski into the last turn, and the checkered flag is definitely his. Mikko, you have done it. There it is. We possibly see the lights flashing. No, we don't. We see Mikko Korkiakoski across the lap peacefully, across the finish line peacefully, scoring a huge and very important. There he is, position number 2. It's Richard Helstein, and he is across the finish line as well. Simon Maluish behind him is a lap down. Position number 3, rounding off the podium, Peter Duivelaar for the Roaring Pipes Maniacs. And position number 4 still has a bit of a way to go. It's Bryan Stark, the second of the FlatOut racers, so he will round off a fantastic team result for FlatOut Racing. With positions number 1 and 4, they will easily lead the championship after round 1. There were 19 racers still on the grid the last time I counted, so we have 6 players not finishing the game here at Spa-Francorchamps. And in position number 5 we have Hugo Heckenberg, who for me in a certain way is the man of the race, because he has kept out of all trouble. Look at the shape this racer is in, as if it's straight out of the garage and not after a terrific 90-minute race here in changing weather at Spa. Well done. Antonio Cambria very close behind him in 6. Ben Buitendijk for the Black Rebels in 7. Guge Holtmann for the Gup Klubben in 8. Fortunato Fiorito in 9. And then Simon Maluish in 10 is the first of the racers who is a lap down. So we have 9 racers in 1 lap, and we have 19 racers finishing the game, which is a great result, I should think, in the conditions that we had today. So that was your first race of the season. We'll take a little break here, but stay with us for the interviews. Jose, tell me what's up next.
Well, I think it's the national anthem to honor the winners.
Yup, and which country will we hear? Is it... where do they actually come from, FlatOut? What is their home country? I don't know.
United Kingdom.
Alright, here we go. Well, that was it. That was the first race of the new STC season. I must admit, I have totally forgotten whether we do have a black cup now or a blue cup. Jose, you can probably put me in the picture.
Yeah, it's the black one.
Thank you very much indeed. I do get mixed up. It's been a long race, 90 minutes full of action, and here we are with the race winner today, Mikko Korkiakoski, who should be with us in the room now. Mikko, are you with me? He very nearly is, because I can see that he has joined the green room, and I suppose that he will be with us presently. So, we'll see the second race of the season in 2 weeks' time, and I hope we see Mikko Korkiakoski back then. Mikko, congratulations to you for a fantastic win in a difficult race.
Thank you, yes, yeah, what a race it was indeed. Pretty much everything happened you can have in a one race. Some crashes and lots of pit stops and changing of the conditions. Yeah, just brilliant race. I'm so happy. My first win in STC, and can't believe.
Is it?
Yes, it is the first win. And
wow.
Yeah, I don't know what to feel really.
Okay, how about feeling very happy then? And you said there was really everything that one can have in one race. How often do you remember did you go to the pits?
I think twice. No, 3 times. Yeah, I actually used every tire available except the hard slick. First time First one was pretty just trying to minimize the damage for the guys in front. I saw them going into pits, and I knew that I will have to go myself soon, so that was just minimizing the risk. And the second time, it was a really difficult decision to go on the wet tires, but the track was just bloody awful. I mean, I was on soft tires and no way to drive, so went for the softs, and of course no luck there. In a few laps trying up again, and then I had to I knew that the tires won't last. The tires were just on the red all the time, overheating, and I was in all sorts of trouble, so I just went for super soft tires for the last stint, and pretty much owned in the last stint.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mikko, and congratulations again to you. And with us now also second positioned Rickard Helstein and third positioned Peter Duivelaar. First of all, Rickard, congratulations to you. What a way to start the season for a new team.
Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty good, I think. Qualifying was very poor, but the race turned out pretty good.
And how did you manage to actually move up from, you said, very poor qualifying? Let me quickly check this here on my list. You were down in 14. How on earth do you get from 14 to 2 on a track like Spa?
To be honest, I actually have no idea. I think it was due to pit stop. I didn't pass that many people on the track, so it must be due to pit stops. And yeah. Can't really explain how I passed everyone. The lead was pretty big to Mikko during the first stint, and after all of us did our stops, I was ahead of him, so don't know actually.
Well, that's a way to end up in 2. I just don't know what happened. I'm up here. Well, okay. And Peter Duivelaar of the Roaring Pipes Maniacs, you definitely had more luck than Marcin, didn't you?
Yes. Well, I first of all want to apologize to Mikko for the first turn, because my brakes were much colder than I expected, and yeah, I couldn't avoid him. With as a result that also my car was pulling to the left all the time because of the suspension damage. And also the strategy, every time it was I put on wet tires and then it became dry again, I put on dry tires, it began to rain again. So I'm glad that I finished third in the end.
Yes, and congratulations to you. Did you have you been in contact with Marcin Skrzypczak? Because we saw him really suffer. He was in the pits for like 7 or 8 times.
Yes, yeah, he crashed early on in the Eau Rouge, and he had heavy damage because of that. And yeah, he probably struggled in keeping control of the car, also because of the changing weather conditions. Also caused him to crash a few times more. That's why he had to pit so often.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Well, anyway, he got through, and you do have a good team result. So, big thank you again for all 3 of you for joining me, and hope to see you or your equally fast teammates again in the next race, and enjoy the 2 weeks till then, and thank you very much for these interviews.
Kiitos ja terkut Ouluun ja kaikille kuuntelijoille.
So, it's the end of the broadcast for me, and big thank you again to Jose Estrada for putting all of this up, and David Garcia, who put a lot of work into the new season. Thank you, both of you. And last words from the 2 of you.
Yes, I want to thank you, Eckhart, first of all. That wouldn't be possible without you, and I am very happy, as Jose said before. Everything seems to work perfect, and I think it will be a perfect season for STC.
Yeah, same here. Thanks, Eckhart, and all the people that helps us. And thanks to all the teams and drivers, and looking forward for next race.
What more to say than bye-bye?
Bye-bye.